Hello and welcome back to another brand new movie review for Trilogy Month. Yes, in case you missed Monday, I reviewed part one to the Back to the Future franchise, and today I'm of course covering Back to the Future Part Two, the one that I like the least in this franchise, because I explained it in my part one for the review, where I'm gonna go off frame for a second once I grab something. Um, where basically it was only recently that I watched part one and part two, but growing up I watched part three so much, and that's why out of the three films, it's part three is my favorite, which of course I'll get to on Friday. Um, but yeah, I it's a good movie. Don't get me wrong. It's a good continuation of the story. We get to see what what they back in 1985, 86, what they thought 2015 was going to look like. 30 years in the future, where there'd be flying cars. Everything from the 80s would be retro, which that part is true. As well as so many other different things. Like there'd be a 19th Jaws film that obviously didn't happen, as well as the Cubs winning the World Series in 2018. So not 2018, 2015. That was off by a year. They ended up doing it in 2016, which was a pretty big year to be a Cubs fan. And so yeah, I also remember that the reason why Jennifer is written out for the vast majority of the film is because Robert Zemeckis, the writer and director, when he started to script the movie for part two, he realized he wrote himself into a corner and he didn't want Jennifer to be in it, so that's why she gets written off pretty early on. She gets knocked out for a bit whilst Marty is trying to prevent his future son from going to prison, as well as his future daughter. And then not only that, she does get seen by the police. They do find her because in the future you can get plastic surgery to look younger, which is something that happens with Doc Brown once we get into 2015. He rips off the old man makeup that they applied from the first movie to, so that way they didn't have to constantly do all that stuff. So seeing that version of 2015 was good, because I remember in actual 2015, people were hyping up the eventuality of getting to, I believe it was October 21st, 2015, was when it was supposed to be taking place. And yeah, like I said, I do like the film. My main issue that I have is the fact that it constantly gives me a headache trying to understand the timelines. And I guess this is why Doctor Who has the rule of don't cross your own timeline, because it can mess with a lot of things, like we do see in this one, where one of the new additional scenes that we didn't get to see in the first one is when Doc takes Marty and Jennifer off to 2015. Biff sees the flying DeLorean, and so when they arrive in 2015, old Biff recognizes it, and then he has that memory unlock of seeing that one time in 1985, and then he overhears Marty having bought the sports almanac to bring back to 1985, so that way he can make some bets, because it has a record of every win from 1950 to 2000, the turn of the millennia. And so that results in him, Doc Brown throws it out. Biff gets it. He travels back to 1955, the day of, the dance that we seen in the first film, and he gives it to his younger self. So that way, on his 21st birthday, when he's at the legal age to gamble, he does, and he makes millions. And so during that process, we get the alternate 1985, where Biff is basically head honcho in Biff's Pleasure Palace, which is a real hotel in Las Vegas. Um, Not only that, let's see, where are we up to now? Yeah, so it turns out that Biff actually killed Marty's dad in 1979, which then forced him to kind of force Lorraine to marry him because he has the money, so that way he can put up, the three children that they had and stuff. And there's an interesting scene that again, as I'm rewatching these things, I'm starting to notice things. Obviously, part one, there wasn't really much. I don't think there was plans for a sequel. If there were, I made mention of that in my original review. But this time around, when Biff is in the hot tub with the two women, we see a scene from a Clint Eastwood western, which obviously is kind of a hinting for the next film because Doc also mentions that he always wanted to travel back to the Wild Wild West, which is one of his favorite eras. Which as we know, he does get that opportunity at the end of the film, and then we see that Clint Eastwood survived being shot at because of the makeshift bullet vest that he had, which then, of course, inspires Marty to do that in the third film. And so, yeah, like I said, I do like and enjoy this film. And when I was watching it on TV, because that's actually where I caught it on one of the movie channels on Sky. I noticed that they played a kind of a bit of a trailer for the third film, which I'm not sure if they filmed part two and part three back to back, or by the time part two was coming out, they'd already filmed part three, or it could just be a later edition. I'm not 100% sure. So someone please do correct me if I am wrong on this. But they played a bit of a trailer teasing the third movie, and they kind of give away a lot of the spoilers. We see, obviously Marty travels back in time to the 1885 to meet up with Doc, and then there's one snippet that we see of Marty going back to 1985 to Jen, which was she was left on the swing set in this movie. So that kind of spoiled the ending, a little bit of the ending. So again, I don't know if that was just something that was added in, for the DVD release, or if that was something that was actually shown back in 1989 when the film came out. So someone please do correct me if I'm wrong. Regardless of the massive headaches I try to get keeping up with timelines and all that shit, which is the same reason why I don't like Terminator 1, I do enjoy this film. Like I said, I do love this trilogy. I would rank it Back to the Future Part 3, Part 1, and Part 2. I know that's going to upset a lot of people because a lot of people love the first two and not so much the third. But because, again, I grew up rewatching that movie on DVD so much as a kid, that is why I would hold it in such high regards. Anyway, that is going to wrap this video up. So thank you all for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Come back on Friday to check out my Back to the Future Part 3 review. I'll see you all on Friday.